Let's talk a little undrafted free agents here on Chicago Bears now. My name is Harrison Graham. I'm going to explore 3 UDFAs that perhaps could push for a Bears roster spot. Now, the Bears roster is in a much better place than it was a few years ago when we saw Jack Sanborn, Jalen Jones, Josh Blackwell all make the team as undrafted free agents. But I do think there's some intriguing ones that the Bears brought in after the NFL draft. So we'll zero in on 3 in particular. In case you need a refresher, 11 undrafted free agents this year. Deion Hankins, the running back. JP Richardson, the receiver. Jahdae Waler, another receiver as well. And then you got 6 defensive players and then 2 specialists. You got Xavier Carlton, defensive end. Jereme Robinson, another defensive end. Power Echols, a linebacker. Major Burns and Tysheem Johnson, a couple of safeties. Cornerback Jeremiah Walker. And then Jonathan Kim, the kicker out of Michigan State. I heard, by the way, at OTAs and minicamp that from one reporter that he didn't see Cairo Santos miss once. So I don't think he's going anywhere. But you got Kim and then Luke Elkin, the long snapper from Iowa, which that is a little interesting because I believe he was Torrey Taylor's long snapper. So, does he have a chance to kick Scott Daly out? Perhaps. I'm not going to get too into the weeds at the long snapper position. Teaser, he's not one of the 3 UDFAs that we are talking about here on today's show. Okay, which undrafted free agent are you rooting for the most? Like, is there someone on the list where you're like, I am pounding the table for this guy. That's my training camp darling. Let's effing go. If there's one of those for me, it's JP Richardson. I got a little personal connection here. He played at TCU. I watched this guy for the last couple of years. I saw him at the Big 12 Combine that they now do, and talk to him for a second. So, there's a little something extra in it for me. But also, there were multiple reports of him during OTAs and minicamp. Like, this guy looks pretty good. Clay Harbor, who covers the Bears, also is a former NFL player, he said the 3 under-the-radar players that impressed him the most during the spring, early summertime were JP Richardson, Maurice Alexander, who we haven't talked about at all, and then Joel Wilson, who got a little head nod from Ben Johnson as well at the tight end position. Pat, the designer, who's been at some of these practices, said that wide receiver drills, this had a video attached to it as well, but can't show it. He said, JP Richardson is my camp darling. Keep your eyes on him. So the reviews, I heard Hogan Johns talk about him. Reviews out of OTAs and minicamp around JP were good, and I'm not really surprised to see that because he's a smart player. He's a good slot receiver with good hands, gets open a lot. And what are you doing a lot of the time this year? It's like 7-on-7 red zone drills. So I'm not surprised to see him, hear reports of him making plays out there. A little profile on him, obviously a little undersized, but not tiny, 5'11 and a half, $192. Strictly a slot. I don't think he's got the strength and speed combo. Play on the outside. We're going to 4.53, which is perfectly good enough for the slot. But at his size, I don't think you're putting him on the outside in the NFL. So he is kind of limited to playing slot. But he has good quickness. He runs good routes. Strong hands. And he also, and this is why maybe he could push for a roster spot as well in a crowded wide receiver room, he's got return ability and experience. We'll get to those numbers in a sec. But over a 4-year career, 2 at Oklahoma State, 2 at TCU, almost 2,000 yards, almost 200 catches, had 11 touchdowns, 11 yards per catch. And then last year became a full-time punt returner. He was kind of a part-time return specialist before 2024, but had a touchdown, 11 yards per return, which is one of the better numbers in college football a year ago. He's got good hands, so you can trust him back there catching those punts. Now, obviously, there's a lot of competition here, right? I think all 4 of the top 4 are virtual locks, unless there's an injury, obviously. That would free up the spot. But DJ Moore, Rome, Badunze, Luther Burden. I'll call Olamide Zaccheaus a soft lock. I mean, he's not making much money, so if he had a bad camp, you could cut him, but I think he's pretty safe. And then, I don't know, do you have 5 guys for 1 or 2 spots? Tyler Scott, Devin Duvernay, who former All-Pro returner, you would think he's the man to beat as the returner. Miles Boykin, a big body receiver who's bounced around a bit, had a pretty good OTA period as well. And then JP Richardson. I would say those 4 guys, I'll throw Jahdae Waler in there as well. 5 guys for 1 to 2 spots is probably what you're looking at. And I think for JP Richardson, the style of receiver he is, you're kind of looking at Tyler Scott and Devin Duvernay. Can he beat those guys out? And with Duvernay, It's like if you're JP Richardson, I think you got to show that you're a much better receiver than him, or at least better, because Duvernay's been an all-pro returner in this league. It's probably going to be tough for Richardson to be a better returner. But if he can be 80 to 85% of the returner that Duvernay is and be a more reliable receiver in the offense, that's kind of where teams have to make tough decisions, right? Because Ben Johnson might say, hey, I like this guy at receiver a lot. I don't want to lose him. Whereas Richard Hightower is like, I want to keep Devin Duvernay as a returner, and that's where you have to make those tough calls. So I think Richardson's going to have to show a lot as a returner and as a receiver. And then Tyler Scott, it's like, what's his role moving forward? Is he a weapon on this team? Does he factor into the return competition? I think he's a bit of an unknown at this point in time. Get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey today. They're only $100. These jerseys are flying off the shelf, so if you want to get yourself one right now, go to chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. Limited time only $100. Chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. Link is in the comments and description. Okay, next up is Major Burns, the undrafted safety out of LSU, who had a pretty big 2023 season, and then last year, for whatever reason, wasn't as productive. I think he was kind of in and out of the starting lineup for the Tigers. But SEC experience, 1 year at Georgia, then 4 at LSU. And then you look, I think could be a right place, right time situation, right? Where Kevin Byard, 32, 33 years old, last year of his contract. Jaquan Brisker, very good player, still young, but injury concerns, last year of his contract. Even more so, Elijah Hicks, last year of his rookie contract. Jonathan Owens, last year of his contract. The top 4 safeties on this team are free agents after this year. You look at Major Burns, who played a lot of ball in college. It was a little up and down. It was a little hit and miss, but he's got a lot of experience, and like I said, he played in the SEC, which is the closest thing you're going to get to NFL-level ball. And with the future of this position somewhat in doubt, if it's close between Burns and especially Hicks or Jonathan Owens, like, I would lean Burns in that situation. Like, if you told me, hey, Major Burns can give you just about everything Jonathan Owens can, well, wouldn't you go with Burns? Because UDFAs are on basically vet minimum 3-year contracts, and you have team control for a 4th year. Like, I would probably do that. Whereas Jonathan Owens is a free agent after this year, and he's almost 30. So we'll see how it shakes out, but I think he's got a shot to make this roster. And then lastly, Xavier Carlton, the edge rusher out of Cal. He's just intriguing to me. Didn't hear a ton out of him in the spring. I heard a couple guys mention him once or twice, but he looks the part in terms of his frame. He was productive last year for Cal as well with 9 sacks. But you're talking about a guy 6'5", 6'6". He has over 34-inch arms. Not the best athlete, as you see here on his relative athletic sport. Just kind of an average NFL athlete. But he's got the size and power in theory, right? He should be able to drive offensive linemen back a little bit with his long arms as well. Like, he checks those Dennis Allen measurables boxes, if you will. So I'm intrigued once the pads go on. Can he be a guy that flashes? Because that edge position still is kind of up in the air after Montez Sweat, Dio Adangbo. Austin Booker had a pretty quiet spring. Dominique Robinson, it sounds like he had a good spring, but when the pads go on, he typically doesn't play as well. So can Xavier Carlton, with that frame, with that production last year at Cal, can he push for a spot? I would just rather sign a free agent, but if not, this is a guy to keep an eye on. Okay, if you're excited for Bears training camp like I am, type me down in the comments below. Less than a month away from when rookies and quarterbacks report, and then veterans report July 22nd. So then that first practice should be the 23rd. Going to be here before we know it. Subscribe because, listen, this month will fly by, and then we'll have lots of on-the-field stuff to talk about, break down, react to every single day during Bears training camp. Can't wait to do it for you. So this is the time to lock us in and kind of gear up. The countdown is here for Bears training camp, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.